Greetings, all Shardvixen, and today is December 23rd, because tomorrow's 24th, which is traditionally Christmas Eve, for those people who celebrate Christmas. Um, Last year, I did a spirituality kind of thing that had my Christmas carols and music and stuff like that on it, and that was in celebration for Christmas. This year, I thought I'd talk about holiday traditions. Even though I don't celebrate Christmas as Christ's birthday, well, I actually do celebrate it. I just don't give it the same reverence that other people do because I believe all of the beliefs are true. They're all true, and they're all based on how we see the world from our bubbles. Yeah, it's that bubble thing I always keep talking about. It's a little dark in here because I'm sitting in a different spot because I'm having some problems with my shoulder and my legs. So today, here's where I'm sitting. And I still haven't made my new mask, as you can all tell. This one fits pretty good. I don't like the way it looks. But I'm hoping to have more time once the holidays are over because everybody's schedule has gotten all whacked out. What with my ex-boyfriend, my Bobby Joe's father being here, and them spending all the time upstairs, and then my daughter working more, and I have the baby more, and everybody's been sick, so that's where that's at. So that was kind of a weird explanation about what's going on. So there's our Christmas tree in the back. Apparently lights don't work, so I have to fix that. So in our house, traditionally, I've never had my children during Christmas. So I don't really celebrate the holidays the same way everybody else did. Now, I believe in the gift-giving part of it, which is really, if you look at it, if you go back and look at there's been people who've written many research articles in anthropology and sociology about the beginning of all of our traditions. And I know a few of them. I don't think it's really that big of a deal where the tradition comes from, just that if it's a tradition that you enjoy and you pass it on and it's something you've done more than 2 times in a row, then it's considered a tradition. In my case, as a child, one of the traditions we had was we went out to dinner every Christmas Eve, and we went out to a nice fancy place. At the time, it was Mr. Steak or Sizzlers or Cattleman's was my family's favorite places to go for Christmas Eve dinner. And then after dinner, or sometimes before it, but usually after dinner, we'd go down to the mall, the indoor mall, and because there was outdoor malls too. We'd go down to the indoor mall and walk it to look at the big giant. They'd turn on the Christmas lights on the big giant Christmas tree. And then a couple of times we went ice skating because there was a rink. We'd go before we went to dinner, but that was rare. Usually it was just dinner, and we'd go out one last time for shopping in the mall, in the Christmas thing. And that's usually when my dad would help us buy something for my mom, and my mom will have us buy something for my dad. And then we'd go to bed, and Christmas morning was when we'd open our presents. And then after that, we would all, my whole family, get in a car, and we'd go to my grandmother's and spend Christmas Day with my grandma. Sometimes we'd be there Christmas Eve before we went to dinner. Then when my parents got a divorce, that kind of ended. We didn't do that no more. We didn't go out to dinner on Christmas Eve. I spent many Christmas Eves after that with my grandmother. And then as I became an adult, I didn't really do much in Christmas because I was the black sheep of the family, and so I would not always be invited to Christmas. I guess I was invited to Christmas. I just didn't feel like I was invited to Christmas, and I didn't feel like I was welcome all the time. My grandmother would, but after my grandmother died, that kind of ended too. So I, with my daughter, tried to do the Christmas Eve dinner, but then she started going and spending Christmas with her dad, so I'd have her New Year's Eve. So then we'd do New Year's Eve dinner. And then same thing with my son. He would spend Christmas with his dad and then come back for New Year's, and we'd have New Year's dinner and do Christmas. So it became more like Yule time, that it was just during the middle of the winter that you made a celebration. So I really do celebrate Yule time more than I celebrate Christmas. But there are lots of stuff out there about the traditions of Christmas, like where the Christmas tree came from, which now, one of the latest things is about midwinter, during the pagan festival, winter solstice. You'd bring in greenery to celebrate winter solstice, to celebrate the coming of summer. And then that, they think, is what brought the idea of the Christmas tree. But the Christmas tree came from Germany. So if you look up Germany traditions, you'd see where the Christmas tree came from. We used to also go out on Christmas Eve and pile into the car and drive around looking at Christmas lights, which I have to say didn't become as spectacular of an event until the late 90s, early 2000s. And then there were these huge houses that spend so much money on putting their lights and trees up. It was beautiful, but I worked with a teacher whose that was what they did. They, every year, a week before Christmas, they'd come up with a theme, and then they'd build it all up, and it'd be all lights. And then they got in the newspaper, so then every year they had to keep doing it, she told me. But they enjoyed it. That was their thing. Their family thing was to put the lights up, So it's kind of interesting about how traditions go, and you can share some of the traditions you do if you celebrate. Now, I've had many friends that do not celebrate any holidays, and not because they're Jehovah's Witnesses, just because they find it silly. My daughter's kind of that way. She doesn't see the point. If you spend all the time with family and doing family things year round, then there's really no need to have a special family time, which was what Christmas kind of meant for me, and kind of told her. So, and then if you're really not hanging out with family, because there's a couple of Christmases that she got to go and hang out with friends, and they went and did things that the family did during that time period, like go to Disneyland or go to the ocean or things like that, then that, kind of also takes away the point of the tradition. So I'm trying to think. Up until recently, my tradition is I would make lots of cookies, which is a tip of the hat to my grandmother. I'd create lots of crafts the 2 weeks before Christmas, and I would mail those crafts, or I'd give them to people. I'd watch. I'd be listening to the oldies radio station that plays, Christmas music right after Thanksgiving. Watch Christmas movies. Christmas Carol, of course, being my favorite. I like the idea of the Christmas Carol because I really like the idea that somebody learns before the end of their time, what their actions have caused, what their consequences of their actions have caused to the people that are around them. And that's really what the Christmas Carol is kind of about. It's not just about the Christmas spirit. It's about Scrooge's being so mean and misery, how that affects everyone around him, past, present, and future, and then him changing it, how that would change everybody's, which is really kind of a cool little story. And so then I've liked all the takes of that. There's Scrooged, it's kind of funny, and there's the Christmas Carol musical, which has got some spectacular music in it, which came out of I want to say the 70s, and it just was a beautiful movie. Another tradition, which is not really a tradition that we created, it's more of a tradition that the TV channel created, was Sound of Music would come on every Christmas Eve, and we'd sit down and watch it. And then I bought it for myself, and I did that with my kids too. And a few of my favorite things that song became a thing for Christmas Eve. It brings back memories of me sitting in my aunt or my uncle's bedroom with the little TV set that they'd have set up for company, and we'd all be sitting there singing and watching the movie and talking about when this movie came out and how old we really were. Because when it first came out, I don't think I was born yet. whenever I was really small, and how it become such a family favorite. And I don't know how, and it's only because they decided that was the movie they were going to show on Christmas Eve. It's kind of like when I was a kid and you only had the 3 channels. CBS would show The Wizard of Oz every Easter. I'm not sure why that was, but every Easter you'd be decorating. The Saturday before Easter, you'd be decorating eggs, and the Wizard of Oz would come on. I got that movie too, and I've watched it with my children. Haven't watched it with my grandson yet. That'd probably be something to do. Him and I watched Arthur's Christmas, which was an interesting little cute Christmas movie. I might watch something with him again this evening, but he'll be leaving, so he won't be here for Christmas. My daughter's working, so she won't be here for Christmas, and my son is hanging out with his dad. So I will pretty much be doing as I've always done, Christmas by myself. I'll probably be streaming. I'm thinking I'm going to stream Monday, and then I'll do Tuesday, No Man's Sky, Wednesday, Thursday's Ark. Wednesday I have to come up with something because my son's father's still here, so can't do Minecraft. Maybe I'll do Minecraft on my own. I don't know. It's kind of not really my game. That I'd be building a road is what I would be doing. And then Friday, and then Saturday again. One of the 4 that I do every month. So some of the things I do miss about Christmas traditions from when I was a kid. I do miss seeing everybody in my family, but my grandmother's dead, my grandfather's dead, my mom's husband and I don't get along, so we don't really hang out that much. And the people who took over the family Christmas time have been slacking in that whole Christmas time thing, and everybody's getting older. My second cousin, who was one of the reasons I always enjoyed getting together, she had brain cancer, and no one's heard from her for a while, so I don't know what's going up with that. And my mom and I aren't very close, so, I mean, we're okay, but I live someplace else than where she, lives. So I guess the holidays, for me, aren't really as big of a deal as they are for some people. I did go out shopping for presents. I think we did that twice. And that was it. We were done. I try to do Christmas shopping like in October, so I don't have to go out with all the mad rush of people. Another tradition I had that I kind of miss is for about 3-4 years I was in a singing guild, and we did Christmas carols all dressed up in Victorian clothes. So that was kind of fun, but that too kind of like got to be a bit much, because it's hard to get all those hoops and skirts and stuff on and then go out walking around singing in them. So you're like, after a while, like, but it's fun for once time. So singing Christmas carols is always a fun thing. One of the songs that always comes to me, it's not really a Christmas song, is Greensleeves. And that was because every Christmas concert when I was a kid and in high school, we would play Greensleeves. If you don't know the music, look it up. It has no word to it. I think it was once featured in Lassie's show, but I'm not positive. Anyway, so that's it. I'm sorry for the more informal, not hooked. There's more wobble to my holding up, because like I said, I was sitting someplace else different. And that's it. Can't think of anything else to talk about. I hope that you all have a wonderful, whatever you celebrate, holidays. I hope that they go smoothly and no stress, and you enjoy yourself immensely. And I will see you guys in my next stream or my next vlog. Peace. I'm out of here.